Chinese President Xi Jinping on Saturday called on the Group of 20, G20, to shoulder its due responsibilities in face of changes and a pandemic both unseen in a century. When addressing the 16th G20 Leaders Summit via video link, President Xi called on the forum to bear in mind the future of humanity and the welfare of the people, uphold openness, inclusiveness and win-win cooperation, practice true multilateralism, and promote the building of a community with a shared future for mankind. He called for equal treatment of different vaccines and advancing mutual recognition of vaccines in accordance with the World Health Organization's emergency use listing. President Xi said that China has provided over 1.6 billion doses of vaccines for more than 100 countries and international organizations to date. In total, China will provide over 2 billion doses for the world in the whole year, President Xi said, noting that China is conducting joint vaccine production with 16 countries. China is ready to work with all parties to enhance vaccine accessibility and affordability in developing countries and make positive contribution to building a global line of defense through vaccination, President Xi said. China, together with 30 other countries, has also launched an initiative for Belt and Road Partnership on COVID-19 vaccines cooperation, President Xi noted. He called for efforts to ensure sound operation of the international economic and financial system. President Xi stressed stepping up macroeconomic policy coordination and ensuring the continuity, consistency and sustainability of policies. Major economies should adopt responsible macroeconomic policies to avoid negative spillovers on developing countries, President Xi said. He called for efforts to take a people-centered approach and make global development more equitable, effective and inclusive to ensure that no country will be left behind. President Xi said that the pandemic has brought multiple crises to the world, developing countries in particular, and the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development is facing unprecedented challenges. President Xi said that forming exclusive blocs or even drawing ideological lines will only cause division and create more obstacles. He called on the G20 to join forces to unleash the potential for innovation-driven growth and draw up rules based on extensive participation and broad consensus to foster an enabling environment for innovation-driven development. President Xi said that China attaches great importance to international cooperation on digital economy and stands ready to work with all parties for the healthy and orderly development of digital economy. China has put forth the Global Initiative on Data Security, President Xi said, calling for joint efforts to discuss and develop international rules for digital governance that reflect the will and respect the interests of all sides, and actively foster an open, fair, just and non-discriminatory environment for digital development. President Xi urged developed countries to lead by example on emission reduction. Developed countries should fully accommodate the special difficulties and concerns of developing countries, deliver on their commitments of climate financing, and provide technology, capacity building and other support for developing countries, President Xi said. President Xi said that China will strive to peak its CO2 emissions before 2030 and achieve carbon neutrality before 2060. China will honor its words with actions and work with all countries to pursue a path of green, low-carbon and sustainable development, President Xi said.
中国古人说：“诚信者，天下之结也。”就是说，诚信是结交天下的根本。中国将坚持对外开放的基本国策，发挥超大规模市场优势和内需潜力，着力推动规则、规制、管理、标准等制度型开放，不断加大知识产权保护力度，持续打造市场化、法治化、国际化营商环境，为中外企业提供公平公正的市场秩序。我相信，中国发展将为各国带来更多新机遇，为世界经济注入更多新动能。
The two-day summit, held both online and offline under the Italian presidency, will focus on the most pressing global challenges, with issues related to the COVID-19 pandemic, climate change and economic recovery topping the agenda. Chinese State Councillor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi attended the summit in Italy as President Xi's special representative.